Welcome back to episode 2 of a moon run. Alright, so dumping out some of the stuff I smelted into the last run. Go ahead and finish up building all the printers. So we're going to have all 4 printers. So we got to build the pipe bender and the tool printer. Once we have the other 2 printers built, we're going to weld them all up in one shot. Kind of looking around what to do while that's printing. Go ahead and dump out my waste tank into the room. Longer term, we'll set up a waste tank collection system where you just hook it onto the wall and it'll just dump everything into the room. You just swap tanks back and forth. That gets everything out of it. Gonna take a look at the batteries here. If you're gonna swap these around. So that didn't interrupt. This is good. Still working through the water and food provided in the lander itself. I haven't touched the food and water that was provided in the lander, the main lander. Now you notice a little bit over, we have a big tank of water which you haven't even tapped yet, so water really not a problem. We have a big tank, and I think we have a smaller insulated tank of water, and then of course we have ice everywhere. Then we can run through a crusher. Alright, so I am waiting for that furnace to cool down into a below 550 Kelvin. And that'll allow me to make solder. So we'll just let it cool naturally. And while that's going on, then let's go ahead and do a little mining here. So besides the lead, which we'll make at some point once the furnace has cooled down a little bit, we need to then go ahead and make electron, and with that we can go ahead and build IC chips and housing and computer terminals and all that for automation. Then we need to go ahead and hunt for nickel to make Invar and constant. So then we go ahead and upgrade our printers and then build a advanced furnace. Okay, so we got our pipe bender. Need that on right now, or maybe I do. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little mining. And nice thing about daylight mining on the moon, you kind of like, especially for gold, you can spot things. The same with silver. If you look around when in the sunlight, you get a different kind of reflection, more of a mirror type reflection to spot the silver on the surface. If you're lucky, hopefully it's on the surface. We're zipping back here to see what's going on with the printing. Because to make electron, I need both gold and silver. And the gold's easy enough to find right now, but the silver might be problematic. So my typical pattern in doing printers is 2 apart, and that allows me to add stackers. Sometimes I put them all in one row, sometimes I put them on both sides of the room, depending on what I'm doing here. Since this is such a long room, I figured I'd run all the printers down this side. Okay, now watch the temperature of the room. Temperature is 27 Celsius. Now obviously it peaks right around me because of the welding torch, but notice the room is now 34. So it went from 27 Celsius to 34 Celsius pretty quickly. And this is no small room. It's a pretty reasonable good volume of gas in here, and it popped it up pretty quickly with a quick little weld. And I need to do another set of welding real quick here with the plastic. We'll just zap these one by one. So besides the heat, it's also putting pollutants in the room. Now we're pulling that out with the our portable filtration unit. And the CO2 it puts in the room, we don't care about. So we're up to 41. It's 27 Celsius to 41. Now, fortunately, we can go ahead and just, at least as a quick solution, we'll just toss some more oxide in here since we want to get the pressure up. Anyway, that's not necessarily a bad thing, getting the temperature up. But it brings up an interesting trick to warm up a room quickly. If you just need to get the room a little warmer, you just, and you have a way to filter out pollutants. Just weld something, or maybe you can just turn the welder on. That should be enough to start heating things up a little bit. So I was surprised. I mean, I knew it would have some impact, but I didn't realize it would be that much. And we'll drop some more ice in here. Now, with everything laid out in here, all the equipment, the batteries, and whatnot, this room inherently will warm up. And this is actually by design, because we'll go ahead and make a station battery here. That will help us conserve power a little bit. Need to find our steel. Or gold, actually. So I was saying that, having the room naturally warm up between the sun and all the equipment is not a bad thing, because cooling is very easy on the moon. If anything, overcooling is the only problem you might have. So now we're just going to double check to make sure I cleaned out all the pollutants from running the welding. Even though it's a very small fractional amount and it really doesn't hurt anything at those low numbers, I like to have all the pollutants out of the room. And when I'm able, I need to make another tablet so I don't keep flipping them back and forth like that. Okay, so we got printers. We got the room back down to 30 Celsius. And we're probably going to take a look at our furnace outside, and nope, not quite cold enough yet. Now we're using the portable generator just because we have it, and as you notice, it does function, but it doesn't have a big output. Grab some more oxide so we can cool that room down a little bit more. We do have a solid generator that was included. I haven't fired it up yet, and finding coal has not really been a big deal. So if I ever have a power problem, we'll just break out the solid generator and just charge that battery. I think, like last I tested, about 26 coal will take a dead station battery to full charge at a pretty quick pace. So, but I have it here, and we'll figure we'll just milk it. I don't really have a lot of need for the fuel in that tank. Could just take the leftovers and make water out of it, but then ice is everywhere. And cancel pressurization. Okay, we have our battery. We're going to need some steel sheets here, and I was thinking about making some heavy cable, and then I decided to not bother for now. And we go ahead and make our ore scanner. Also need some steel sheets to make the weld up that printer. Really should have my helmet off. Although it's too dark in here, it's hard to see without my light on. And so, yeah, there's a solution. I'm making a portable light unit and keeping it in my suit so I can have some light that way. So, fortunately, smelting gold is pretty simple. That should be enough. Go ahead and drop that in there, and yeah, I want to get the pressure around, I don't know, 80 to 90 kilopascals. Because I'll start pulling out this O2 at some point for filling my O2 tank. Biggest problem we'll need is getting more CO2 in this room. And not cold enough. All right, so we're going to go ahead and solve the station battery, but it's gonna go right there, so I'm gonna move things around a little bit. Just toss all this junk over there. Probably be a little smarter if I move that ore out of my inventory into the mining belt, and I can put more stuff in my inventory and not have to keep moving back and forth. Reconnect that, and then we'll slam our battery right here. So the output of the battery goes there, power the base. Weld this up. So definitely, for all these probably every single planet, getting steel as early as possible is extremely useful. Besides the station battery, which is useful for not wasting power if you are charging something and your normal batteries are full. You need it for insulated pipes and building radiators. So it's a critical component, and you just really can't survive without it long term. So just try to get that going as soon as possible. It's not that difficult to. I just all to smelt that up. All right, so just making sure everything's happy there. Top that off. All right, so start that charging. So now we can, safely leave the portable charger going, because it would take a number of tank fills to get that battery charged up. Plus, we're consuming power at the same time. So we need to improve our solar situation here, but since we have the panel, let's not waste it. We have that small portable solar charger, which is probably fine for a small battery. I just don't bother with them. If I need to break that out, then it's a really difficult start scenario. Now, the other thing I could have done with the station battery is go ahead and make like 2 heavy cables, put the solid generator right next to it, run the cables between it, and fire it up and charge up that battery rather quickly, and then run off that. But and we have plenty of coal. There's lots of coal on the moon, and but I'm just using the portable power just to see how it goes and how well it charges, and then at some point we'll disconnect it and we're done with it. And everything is charging slowly. I think it's time for some lockers here. So the other solution to the airlock problem of avoiding hitting the cancel button is to install an advanced airlock, which will require, you still have to give it another active vent and passive, or another active vent in there. And what you do, you can set the pressure with the advanced one. You can set the pressure to 0, so it won't try to fill the airlock, and then it just pops the door open. You don't have that option, as far as I know, on the basic airlock controller, but you do have the advanced. So if I put the advanced in there and put a dummy, effectively, a non-useful active vent in there, then I can get through there and avoid the hitting the cancel button. So I may do that at some point. So here I'm putting lockers above the printers here. One of the things I don't like about windows, I put these windows in there and now I cover them up with lockers. And I was deciding between, do I center them across each window, or do I just cram them in there and so I can get a few more another locker in there. So I decided to just cram them in there. So my hand's not having the right item. Look down, I'm not selecting. I finally figured that out. I don't actually have the ingot selected. I'm trying to wonder why it wouldn't load up in there. All right, so we can load this crap in here and keep things from blowing around and be a little more organized. The downside of being a little more organized is you can spend a little more time organizing. All right, so we put all that stuff there and get that stuff off the ground. And so I haven't hit a hygiene warning yet. I think I'm pretty much going to avoid it with this room, and if I get some lighting in here so I can keep my suit off all the time, then probably never hit a hygiene error. Okay, so our power situation is a bit better here. We got the interior space down to a reasonable temperature of 27 Celsius. Now that will definitely be climbing up from all the heat sources in there. And we can, short term just throw oxide at it because we want to get the pressure up there anyway. So the temperature is still not low enough for lead. So I figure, well, let's just toss a bunch of stuff in there to degas it. That typically has a cooling effect. And then at least we'll have a degas for when we have to actually smelt it. There's just a little too much gas in there. Obviously, the more gas you have in there, the more it's going to take to get it lower. And now, I didn't think of it at the time. I could have thrown a little bit of that ice in there, and that would have reduced the temperature. So, then the ice, what times in the water? I have stuck with water down there and I got to drain the water out. So maybe ice is not the best solution. All right. So we got it down a bit, not low enough for almost there. We'll just like 2 Kelvin away. So we'll just do a little mining while we're waiting for that to drop down a little bit more. And we're still on the hunt for, we need silver. And always use more gold and silica and everything else. But we're looking for silver and nickel. We need the silver for the mix with gold to make the electron, and then we need the nickel for Invar and Constantin. Just kind of mining. Once I sort of find a lot of ore, I just try to mine it all out before I move on to somewhere else. All right, so I think it should be, yeah. We'll just top that off while we're out here. Yeah, you said it's not the greatest thing, but all right. So push the button, push the cancel button, and a little less flowing out to the airlock. Go ahead and grab our iron and lead that we had saved to make solder. Looking around, make sure nothing's being weird. You see how useful it is to automate that airlock. Don't worry about manually pushing buttons. All right, so this should be easy. We threw it in there, and magic should happen. Boom, we have solder. Ah, missed it. Yeah, we got solder in 2 charged large batteries. I'll just stick it over here for now. There's a few things we can make with just solder, but we really need the electron before we get serious about stuff. I'll clear out my inventory a little bit. Basically anything units of 50, and it's not ice. We don't want to throw ice, anything like that. It'll melt in here. All right. Kind of looking around, anything useful to do, what to do next. So I decided to go ahead and make a light. That way, if I take my suit off, there's some light source in here, and so I ended up just making like one light, and I just kind of stuck it over here, and it turned out to be a waste of my time, basically. I just need lights across the ceiling. The problem with the this base layout, because the way the ceiling is only a wall, and I have solar units on top, I gotta be careful how I run the cabling so I don't, short circuit the system by, running the output into the input of the cables above and so I need to, so that light source is not very useful there. Anyway, I tried that, and I needed one on the ceiling all the way down, and that's a little more power I want to pull anyway. So I figured just enough light to see I can't see anything. I hover, I can find it, but we'll grab my suit to grab stuff I need. Some of that, some of this. All right, so an atmospheric unit. So right now we're going to build two type of things. We're going to build an atmospheric unit so we can pull out the O2 out of this room and store it in our oxygen tank. You may be noticing that the oxygen tank has been slowly going down, and I don't have the starting tank to fill up with. And it's because I've already emptied it and disassembled it. But not really a big deal. We have a ton of O2 in this room, and I've been deferring it because it really wasn't a priority. Now it's kind of getting up there. So we'll set that up. It's pretty simple. You just have a filtration unit that pulls gas out of the air and moves the O2 into a set of pipes and put a connector on it, and we'll do it manually initially. By manually means you got to watch the pressure so you don't blow up anything. And then later on, once we have some electron, we'll be able to chip it and then make a second tank, and then we'll just always keep a tank full, and we just have to swap a tank. So that's pretty simple. The other thing we're going to be making is an insulated tank and associated pump and some insulated pipes so we can take the gas out of the furnace and store it. That gas is useful for another number of reasons. Specifically, it has a lot of carbon dioxide in there that we can use once we cool it down for this room for growing plants. We can also use the carbon dioxide as a sort of a coolant line type thing if we need to have sort of radiators between components. We can use that as the medium gas. Also, we'll have a collection of pollutants that we can use, and then we'll have a little bit of nitrogen in there. And typically there's probably some waste volatiles. Probably not worth filtering that out given the fact that volatiles are everywhere. The other thing it does by putting the insulated tank with a pump connected to the furnace is I can reduce the pressure of the furnace. This is important for making electron because it has a very specific pressure range of 800 kilopascals to 2.4 megapascals. So basically just get it to the right temperature, and then we'll turn the pump on and we'll use that to reduce the pressure, and then boom, we have electron. And that's the same for the other two main alloys, Invar and Constant. They have specific pressure ranges, so we can use this mechanism to play with the pressure a little bit. If I need to go the other way and add gas, I can either flip the pump around, pump more gas in it, or I'll just throw more, volatiles and oxides to bump it up a little bit higher. So we're still working through the lander food supply. Plus we went through the food and water we had on our belt. I think we did. I had to look at that. I think one of our food and water in our belt is still there. Yeah, lights. We'll deal with that. At least it's not totally dark in here, and that's not going to work. Yeah, let's not do that. Maybe that light was a little higher, but we really need the ceiling lights all the way down. And put that on the future thing to do. Okay, now make a little volume pump. Flip it around, so it's pretty simple. We'll just and to build it, we need to grab those tanks. Let's do some cabling. Probably since I had the cabling in my hand, I should have went ahead and hooked up the power. All right, this is the input. So we'll just pull out of the atmosphere. This is the output. We'll just dump it back in here. And this little, you can get away with just one filter. I always put two, just what I do. They don't really cost that much to make. All right, so this is the pure O2. And we'll kind of loop it around here. Keeps it more or less in one frame. And we need, turn that off, save a little power. We need a volume pump, pipe meter, and our utility pipe. Okay. Boom and boom. All right, just need to wire it up. I think wiring is a little easier with the light off because you don't have that glare bouncing back. So I was going to make another canister and then paint it white. And then I realized, well, since my suit off, you know, I don't need to do that. I can just take this, drop it in there, and fill it. I don't really need the pipe meter because if you hover over the tank, you get the pressure anyway. So sort of a reflex putting a pipe meter there. Just dump my waste tank out into the room. All right, so we're gonna grab, make sure we don't go boom or anything. So you can see the room has been inching up in the temperature. So and it's real simple to deal with this problem. I mean, do it manually. All you do is have some pipes coming out of the room. On this side of the pipe, put a passive vent. On the other side of the pipe, mount radiators on them, designed for, you know, to radiate, not the convection version. And then the temperature will drop. And then to stop the temperature from dropping, you manually go out and remove the radiators. Obviously, that's a manual and error-prone method, but it does work. And obviously the other solution is throw more oxide in the room. And then the obviously the longer term, what you want to do is just put an air conditioning unit inside. You connect the waste tank, waste line to a set of pipes that go outside. With you fill it up with, say, carbon dioxide. Put radiators on it on the outside pipes, and then the AC will control the temperature inside. So you set that to 25 and then, you know, let it go. The only risk you have is the pipes getting too cold. And so if the pipes are, you kind of like play with it a little bit. If the pipes are getting too cold, pull off the radiators. And you have too many on there. There's a balance on that. Grab some more oxide here. What I really need is the extending radiator. So how that works is basically when it extends, We found some silver. We really need this silver. We're gonna mine this whole area, pull out the silver. Hopefully we get 50. But the back to the extended radiator. When it extends, it radiates, it transfers heat and cools down whatever line's connected to it. But when it's brought back in, then it becomes effectively a insulator. So that makes it pretty simple to put the logic on there. So if the your coolant line pipe is too hot, you raise the radiator to cool it down. If it's too cold, you bring it back in, and that prevents that line from ever freezing. Unfortunately, it requires some super alloys to make it. So, but that's the long-term solution. So, and I'll muck with the cooling of make a non-oxide cooling of the base in the next episode. We'll do a very simple manual version first, and then once I'm able to pull out some CO2 out of this furnace gas, I can use it, and then I'll set up an AC system, and then we'll see how well that works. And then longer term, once we're able to get an advanced furnace. See, this room is just cranking up in temperature, man. Yeah. I said right now it's actually a positive because I just want to throw more oxide here anyway, but that solution will not last forever. Getting my silver and gold ready to go, so kind of like staging the alloy there over there at that side. So cleaning out the old inventory so I can do some work here. And I think I forgot to make all right, so the platform you saw me extend, the reason I extended that, so I had room to put the tank so I can move gas out of there. And of course I forgot to make the insulated pipes. So we'll make some of those. Yeah, the far end is where we're going to put the hydroponics at some point. I don't want to do that until I'm able to keep this room at a consistent temperature with the AC system. So once I have that set in here, running at 25 Celsius, at that point I can go ahead and add the hydroponics, get that going on the other end. And I'll just leverage the moon, the sun coming up to for growing for now. I won't bother with grow lights. And we'll just, it's a pretty big room. I can put a lot of plants in here, so that should be good enough, since we have plenty of time to keep going for as long as keep mining stuff. And by mining stuff, I mean we can mine, ice for water, we can mine oxide for oxygen, we can mine volatiles. So we can mine a lot. At some point, you'll have everything in the nearby area mined out, and then you start, generate your own oxygen, your own carbon, everything else, and then even your own volatiles at some point. All right, so we're going to use the output line. Could actually connect it to, but in this case, we're not going to do that. In case for some reason we want to use it independently. So we have insulated pipe, the volume pump. Doesn't actually contain gas, so it doesn't really matter if it's insulated or not. And we'll drop this here. And now we got to wire it. Let's run it down here, connect it to the old arc furnace cable. And one short. But we got plenty of copper, so we can always make some more. And Yeah, I really only need a couple. I only need one. But I'm going to wait around for a few more to print off for whatever reason. Our old arc furnace. Okay. At this point, I'm making a mistake on the minimum temperature required to make electron. It's 600 Kelvin, which is 325 Celsius. So I'm thinking 327, but I converted the 327 back to Kelvin, so it's 327 Kelvin, I'm thinking. So I go, okay, look, it's 4, whatever. It's warm enough. This is perfect. Right? It really should be 600 Kelvin. And so I have this in my head, just thinking I have the right temperature. Now I do have to drop the pressure. So I'm sort of waiting to drop the pressure. I'm going to speed this up by 3x real soon here. I don't want to go wandering off and do something else, forget about it, come back and have zero pressure in here. Now I can go ahead and just, flip the pump and pump some more gas, or go ahead and throw some more volatiles. I didn't save any oxide if I have to go out and shop for some more oxide. Anyway, so I'm thinking that, okay, just get it down. We're running at 3x right now. So, all right. So where is it? I should have electron. Why don't I have electron? It's the right pressure. And of course, I did that conversion with the, so let's look it up. Yep, this. I'm checking it, make sure it works with the normal furnace. And, I got the right mixture, the right pressure, and I still like going, oh. And I realized, oh crap. All right. Now I dumped the reagents out. I didn't have to, because I'm just going to throw in, I guess, gaseous ore, which always converts into, some kind of gas. Now I don't want to go hunt for more oxide, and I have this night ice stuff, which is like 90% nitrogen and 10% nitrox, which is, nitrox is good, but it's still, still got a lot of dilution in there. So, okay, but we just threw a bunch in there and hope for the best, and it got hot enough. We sort of did the blind monkey smelting technique. And of course, once we heated it up, we got to get the pressure back down again. So, but definitely got enough temperature at this point. Sometimes just throwing a hammer at it is the best solution. Getting there. All right. See if I can catch it this time. Got it. All right. So we can now make IC chips and computer stuff and housing and all that magical stuff. We still need to make the other 2 alloys, which are a little more fun. But we're getting there. And the room's back up to 29. Okay. And I'm going, we got enough to do a steel run here. Let's do another steel run. Now, the smart thing would have been to brought my atmosphere card on my tablet and look inside the furnace to see the contents of it, because I believe it's volatile rich at this point. But I have this night ice stuff, knit ice, so I'll just throw some of that in there and get it going. And we don't need any more volatiles in here. I think we have plenty of volatiles in there. But I said that what I should have done is just peeked in there with the atmosphere card and see what the mixture is, and that way I know what to add. Not like, there's volatiles everywhere, so it's not a big deal if I waste them. So I'm throwing more of this in here. So once back into caveman smelting, just throw stuff at random and see what happens. Okay, well that didn't help much. Let's throw the rest of this other crap in there. See what happens when I throw this in here. Now I could have thrown that silver in there. Okay, so now we're... Right, so we're hot enough, so we should be able to get a steel run in here. Now this is all hasn't been, I think some of this might have been degassed. Some's been degassed, some hasn't been degassed. So typically when I degas, I kind of sort them out. I need to put like a locker out here, and then when I degas stuff, just keep it in the locker outside. Okay, we have some steel. Good, so let me double our steel. Well, not, let's see if we can get away. Probably should have checked the temperature first, but positive thinking apparently is not working here. I did get the steel. Everything else is just okay. We should be able to get away with the actually checking the temperature now. No, we're not going to make it. Almost. Gold will work.
Power low.
And since I'm collecting all the gas, nothing's really wasted. I'll just, collect all this stuff and start pumping it all in here. And I'm leaving my suit light on all the time because, I'm playing sort of the normal mode, so there's no reason to be stingy on power. With the standard start, in a good situation, no reason to leave that light off. I was just thinking I should probably take my suit off. Oh, it's dark in here. End up with a pile of empty water bottles here. I think I think we can throw those in the furnace. I think they get melted, they get wiped out in the furnace. I think like 1 iron a piece or some trivia amount. Go ahead and finally make our ore scanner. We need to try to find some nickel. It's typically deeper down, so hopefully it's Just find a couple spots and dig down, and can't build a color one yet. And we'll just swap the battery. Really had enough, pour enough power on it. Yeah, I probably should have left that on so I can empty that tank completely out, but there's only a little bit in there, so it's probably not going to hurt too much. We'll top this off, keep that going. Okay, we can check out our new ore scanner. Get a little bit away from the base so I don't put too many holes right next to the base. Find a little spot, dig down. Okay, right there. Oh, found some ice. Well, we don't need that right now. Let's move another spot. Okay, right there. Looks good. Let's dig down. Find some gold. That's useful. So we'll keep going. Nice thing, you kind of wave it around so you're not like mining into nothingness. Oh, something else I figured out. Well, not figured out, but noticed. So, with very aggressive mining, especially digging down the moon here, you hit a point where it's like you can't mine anymore. It all stops, and nothing mines out. It seems you just have to like stop for a few seconds and just sit there, and all of a sudden you'll see the terrain update. So apparently it's mining faster than it can update, and we found some nickel. And this is a lucky find here. So we're going to try to get as much nickel. Fortunately, each little ore thing of nickel is quite a bit. So we found the nickel, and we're just mining. So this is good because we need nickel, and ideally we want 250 stacks so we can make the other alloys we need. And I got to find some iron, but we want to find the rest of the nickel. We got enough nickel now. We don't want to just might as well milk it all out. And a little oxide right there, so you might as well grab that. And it just seemed to be a little bit, not just a little bit of oxide. Okay. We have enough of charge on the station battery, so we don't want to overdo it. So we'll just turn that off for now. All right, so this is into episode 2. Made solder, made electron. We found some nickel. That's good. Next episode, we need to improve our power situation with some more solar. We can now make IC chips and address the base cooling problem. Till next time, see ya.